set matters. Every rep matters. And I'll tell you what, like this will be kind of a challenge to a lot of folks out there. A lot of the uber high volume people that you see, you should probably look at it in this order. There's this video that Lyle McDonald made on basically rep speed slowing down as you're getting closer to failure.
Mhm.
Right. So view that one first, and then go look at your favorite high volume guy, and you'll see that hardly ever are they in those dog fights where rep speed is slowing down. So they're
Right.
hitting. They don't want to admit it because a good RPE 6, especially within the confines of like a long day with many sets, is difficult. But they're making work out of a lot of RPE 5 to 6 sets because the reps never slow down. They virtually first rep like almost looks like the last rep, even though they just did a set of, I don't know, 20.
Wow. Just because someone says they went to failure, or they talk about how they trained to failure, guys, look at their training, right? You can see it, like you just said, where, wait a second, are they using their whole entire body for a bicep curl? Okay, what is that? Total body, not even close to failure because nothing even slowed down. Like there's so many ways you can kind of,
Hmm.
or observe, right? I guess. And again, yeah, that's huge, I think, because people will latch on to things that people say when in
Yeah.
reality, that's not
Yeah.
even what they're doing, right? If you want to
Yeah.
pick on what the definition of failure is, obviously, right?
Yeah, I know a lot of people who are like anti, the RIR or the RPE metrics, right? It's like you look at their training and it's like, bro, that was like RPE 5 6.
Yeah, yeah.
You
And
know,
you're saying and they're saying it's failure, right?
and they're saying it's failure. Like
Yeah,
generally,
yeah,
you look around most gyms, even pretty hard, a lot of hardcore gyms. It's like you see, I don't know, big dude rowing, and now the set's just done. You know, right?
that. And you know what? It's like no wonder why you take. And I know there's again that the genetic differences of what people
Mhm.
can tolerate as far as how much training they can do, right? But yeah, what goes into your set, Alberto, versus someone else who's doing what you just said, where it's like RP 5 or 6, but they're saying it's failure. It's like, dude, no, you're actually training the failure. That person isn't. No wonder why you can't do 6 days a week, 2 hour sessions, bro, kind of like that bro-ish split where it's like you do 7 chest exercises. Like, dude, I'm done after the second one. Like, done. Like my chest, I will get injured if I do
Yeah.
another chest exercise. That kind of thing, right?
Yeah. No, exactly. Like I tell people that my average, RPE is 7 8, generally speaking, and to them it's like, well, that's kind of underwhelming. It's like, no, you try a true 7 8 RPE without improvising on form. Like
Yep.
again, like holding that muscle to the fire and when it gets terrible, uh, and it is, yeah, it is good work, and to be honest probably I guess a harder RPE relative to what your average committed gym rat is doing because again it's like rep speed never slows down or they improvise like it kind of turns into a different exercise at the end. So
Which is
yeah,
dangerous and can lead to a whole bunch of problems, right?
and that's a skill in itself is to like, okay, now it gets hard. It's like, all right, let's keep moving. Let's keep pulling the way we were pulling or curling the way we were curling. And again, that in itself is a skill. And like you said, that's something that Jeff has. It's like, okay, it's getting gritty now. Like, let's go zen and just, kind of disappear, but be there as we're going through these hard reps.
Yep. It's no secret why the amount that he does. Like if you kind of put it all together, it makes sense, right? And
Yeah.
given his
Yeah.
background too, with as he's mentioned, he's like a Dorian Yates kind of Mike Mentzer disciple from. That's kind of how he was brought up in training. So it's like, dude, he's putting in this like, and the amount of energy that goes into one set is probably through the roof, even if he's not going to failure, right?
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, it brings up the fact that okay, it's like you don't have to do 6 sets per body part with like RPE 10 and beyond, going beyond failure because it will be
Right.
about Yates, like how many muscles did he tear, right? So then there's some risk there, right? And you also don't have to be one of those like 35 set dudes that like you know are RPE 5 4 on everything.
Right.
Right. It's a lot of shitty work that kind of makes it so that like it amounts to something that's show. Then that's why those people are like, oh, well, I kept adding volume and I saw more. And it's like, well, yeah, because the work wasn't of good quality, or you didn't pick the right movements, and that's why you saw that trend, and that's why you're there now. But for most people, it's going to be somewhere in the middle. The old man, I'd say probably 10 to 20 sets, but for most people, honestly, it's probably going to be a little bit on the lower end once you get stuff nice and tight.
What I am gonna say, because I thought this was interesting, because you had brought it up how that example where that person was progressing their sets up to, like, now they're at 35 sets for back or whatever, and it's like, well, wait a minute, you could run into the same problems even if you are RIR 5 or 6, because you got the overuse issues, right?
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Yep, 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 yep.
Both ends of the extreme, not a place to be for very long.
Yeah, yeah. Like you don't want to be, again, you want to be a like, no fat, high carb person. You also don't want to be a keto warrior, right? Like there's
Yep.
probably something in the middle that is the sweet spot. Like, and that's just for most things.
Man, that's awesome. And I need to throw this in the podcast now, because this is like, we're here now. I can't hold it back. All right. So you hear these HIT, these hitters, right? The high intensity training community, right? Awesome, cool, great. It has its place to teach effort. I think it's valuable, but they'll be like, yeah, more, and then they'll kind of diss everybody else. But that's where I get upset a little bit, because it's kind of like everything else is suboptimal, or it's kind of like, more is not better. But it's like, dude, you're doing more effort. Like the most effort you could possibly put into one set. How is that not the same thing, just on another end of the continuum, right?
Yeah, yeah, and you just throw away some tools that in fact can be valuable when you look at it that way. Kind of like the no carb person. It's like, how about some carbs? Doesn't mean we have to be on like 500 a day, but how about some carbs, right? Right. So the people who yeah, do the intermittent fasting, and it's like, okay, well, you said you don't, eating pre-training didn't do you good, but how about half a banana, right? Like, in the morning before you get going. And the same thing with those folks. It's with the say the high intensity crew, where it's like, well, okay, so you're doing, these ramp up sets, and you're doing your one big set, and that's kind of it. Do you think you'd get more stimulus if, I don't know, you did two sets and then maybe you just left two reps in the tank compared to where you relatively go? I'd say it'd be hard to argue that that's not more overall net stimulus,
Yep.
Um, so yeah, yeah, like when you find yourself in any like extreme, it's just you just lose a bunch of tools that can be very useful.